Alrighty, everyone. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Just for introduction purposes, my name is Jacob Quintana, and I am a recruitment specialist with Cal State LA's Office of Admissions. Today, I am joined by my colleagues Nadia Mendoza, Monica Gonzalez, and Maribel Macias, who will be assisting me with this session today. This is the Cal State LA What's Next presentation for any freshman students or first-time freshmen. So this presentation is ultimately guided towards informing you on your next steps as far as accepting your offer of admission from Cal State LA. So of course, I will be conducting this presentation, but my colleagues will go ahead and answer any questions that may arise in the chat. Okay, so unfortunately, you will not be able to unmute yourselves during this session. So please go ahead and utilize that Q&A box so that you can ask any questions. And of course, like I said, my colleagues will go ahead and get around to them. But if there's extra time or anything like that, I'm happy to answer any questions live. Okay. All right. So again, this is Cal State LA's Fall 2024 What's Next presentation. All right, so we'd like to begin the session by congratulating all the individuals who were admitted to Cal State LA. We're definitely excited to have you become a Golden Eagle, right? It's not easy to, of course, just get through 4 years of high school, right? It's also not easy to get through the college application process. But fortunately, all of you have made it, right? You're getting through high school, you're almost there, you're on that final stretch. And now you guys are reaping the benefits of course, those college applications, right? So you guys are starting to get those admissions notifications and so on. So you may not realize it now, but it definitely is a huge step forward as far as, whether it's a goal in your life to get a bachelor's degree, or whether it is your goal just to get admitted into college, right? You're going to realize maybe not now, maybe not in a couple of years, but maybe a little further down the line that this is a huge accomplishment within your academic journey. So again, congratulations. This definitely is a huge step forward. All right, so just to cover some of today's topics, we're going to go over, of course, campus housing, specifically our South Village, which is intended for any freshman or sophomore students, or particularly anyone under the age of 21. We're also going to go over financial aid and scholarships, and we're also going to go over your next steps as far as accepting your fall 2024 admission. And for those students who haven't actually activated their My Cal State LA ID, we're also going to go over that as well, particularly the Get account, where you can, see your financial aid, sign up for classes, and so on and so forth. All right, so if you're in this session, that means you have already been admitted to Cal State LA, right? So around this time, you're going to be receiving, if you get invited, of course, a potential invitation to the Summer Connections or the Early Start program. This is specifically tailored for any students who might be struggling with any math or any English courses. So, for example, if your grades were struggling just a little bit in high school, you're going to get invited to the session. So, if you do get invited, you do have to attend, as it is mandatory. But it really is a good opportunity for you to kind of, get used to the college environment, right? Just to get acclimated with the university academic rigor. And this really is a good opportunity, again, for you to just, communicate with your professors and just, like I said, get assimilated with the university. I had to take this coming into my freshman year at Cal State LA. I had to take the math course in the summer. And it is important to note that you don't actually get like a grade for this course. It really is like a pass or no pass. Okay, so as long as you're doing your assignments, you're attending class, you're going to be okay. All right. And again, it really was a fun opportunity for me to start making friends and just get used to what it's like to be in college. So again, if you got admitted, you may get invited to the session. So just go ahead and follow the instructions in your email once you go ahead and receive that. Okay. Again, this is mandatory for all students who are invited. All right, so here at Cal State LA, of course, we're a university, right? We're a four-year university, so we do offer academic advisement as part of your tuition and fees, right? And the entire purpose of academic advisement is to help guide you through your academic journey, right? So it's funny because one of my colleagues always says, like, our job isn't to get you into college, right? Our job is to get you out of college. And that's exactly what our academic advisors do, right? We help get you out of college so that you can get your degree and get on to your career. So with that being said, I generally advise all of my students to meet with their academic advisor at least once every semester. And the reason behind that is because your academic advisor is the only person, or rather the most well-equipped person, to help guide you through your academic journey, right? So for example, when I was attending Cal State LA for my undergraduate program from 2015 to 2019, we converted from quarter system to semester system right in the middle of my academic journey. So right in the middle, so right in 2017, right? So from quarter system to semester system, there was a lot of changes happening, right? My advisor was able to help, guide me, allow me to see what kind of classes I need to take or what kind of classes I didn't need to take anymore because of that conversion. It's also important to note that there's classes that double count. So what that means is you can essentially take a class that fulfills your GEs, which are the classes you're going to be taking your first 2 years of college, and it'll also count towards your major specific courses, right? So hypothetically, that Chicano Studies class will not only count towards your GEs, but it may potentially count towards your actual major, which is something important to note, right? And otherwise, you wouldn't know that unless you meet with your academic advisor. So that's something worth noting. Here at Cal State LA, we do also have tutoring and supplemental instruction services for our students. We have a tutoring center located within the south wing of our library. And this really is a good opportunity for you to get that extra help, potentially talk to some professors, assistant professors, or even some students who are excelling in your actual course. It is worth noting that this is 100% for free, and this is part of your tuition and fees, okay? So feel free to drop into this tutoring center at any time. All of those tutors are more than happy to help. We do also have supplemental instruction, or rather things like the writing lab on our campus. So here in college, we do use APA format. Okay, so personally, in my personal experience in high school, I had to use MLA format, which some of you may be familiar with, right? In college, it's predominantly APA format, okay? And I had a little bit of a learning curve adjusting, and the best way I acclimated to the change or the learning curve is by going to the writing lab. These professors and individuals kind of help you with as far as like essay format, developing your reference page, developing the title page, adding page numbers, adding references, adding in-text citations, and so on and so forth, okay? So this really is helpful, and again, this is 100% for free. We do also have in-person and virtual advisement sessions. This really is an awesome opportunity for any prospective students to kind of just get familiar with Cal State LA, just make sure all their admissions requirements are being met. These are 100% free. It is myself and my team who actually conduct these sessions. So feel free to make an appointment. All you have to do is look up Cal State LA pre-admission advisement sessions. We offer in-person and virtual sessions. So it's a 30-minute session where you can literally talk about your admissions criteria, right? Just to make sure you're all good to go. Make sure you're not missing any dates and deadlines that may affect your admission for fall 2024, okay? All right, so this right here is our campus housing, specifically our South Village campus, okay? And again, this is exclusively available for any students who are 21 and under, or more specifically, our freshmen and sophomore students, okay? So if you take a look at the left side of this slide, right on top, you're gonna see our South Village campus. So you can see it's very modern, very sleek. It has the palm trees, the clear windows, and the new building, right? It's important to note that this building has only been in operation for about 2 years now, okay? So everything in there is pretty much new, right? It's move-in ready, which is also worth noting. And if you take a look to the left side of that actual image, you're gonna see kind of like what looks like a tower that has like a bridge going across. That's something we created here at Cal State LA, just so that you don't actually have to climb stairs to get onto the campus, right? Or rather the closest building, which is King Hall. You get access to an elevator, so you don't have to like run out of breath accessing any facilities here at Cal State LA, which is also really cool. At the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see the wellness zone, or really, that's just another fancy word for a gym. But we have treadmills, weights, bicycles, and all kinds of equipment in there for you to use. And this is exclusively available for any students living within the dorm. On the bottom right-hand side of the left side of the slide, you're going to see a typical 2-person dorm. So you can see it has twin beds, extra long twin beds, I might add. It has desks, dressers, and wardrobes. So everything is move-in ready. All you really need to do is bring in, your clothes, maybe a couple lamps, decorations, blankets, and all that stuff, and you're good to go. So you don't need to worry about buying any actual furniture, which is really, really cool. Here at Cal State LA, specifically in the South Village, we do have 3 different living styles. We have the single, the double, and the triple. Okay, so depending on your preferences, privacy preferences, or maybe even budget constraints, you can definitely choose one of those options. The triple typically costs about $8,000 per person. So that's you and 2 other people living in a room. The double costs about $10,000. and that's you with someone else. And the single room, which is typically only reserved for like special accommodations, but that ranges anywhere between $12,000 to $14,000. Okay, and I'll go ahead and explain why I'm bringing up the price and cost of actually dorming in our campus shortly. It's also worth noting that Cal State LA has 2 study lounges per floor, 8 different floors within our dorms. Okay, so it's important to note that each floor has about 2 different study lounges. All right, and it's also important to note that we also have themed living. So I like to tell students that not only are you going to be living on our campus and taking, of course, let's say, for example, you're a business student, right? Of course, you're going to be taking classes in the business college with the fellow business students and et cetera, et cetera. But if you choose to live in our dorms, you're also going to be living with business students. So this does facilitate an awesome educational learning environment, but it does also facilitate an awesome social environment, right? And this does proactively encourage, right, making friends, group activities, and so on and so forth, which is really, really cool. Some of the amenities offered within the dorm facility is that we do have free Wi-Fi for all of our students, free TVs, and free movie streaming, right? You can access any TV streaming service, Wi-Fi, I'm sorry, Hulu, Netflix, Stars, Showtime. And if you can think about it, we have it here in our dorms. We have on-site laundry, meaning you don't actually have to leave the dorm facility to do your laundry, which is a huge plus, right? We have a learning center, which is basically a little area in every single floor where you can go ahead and study, charge your laptop, or even socialize with fellow students. We have community kitchens. It is important to note that we do have a buffet available for students if they choose to take or choose to purchase a meal plan, right? And we do have about 8 different restaurants within this buffet. Of course, we have like a Mexican style restaurant, right? We have hamburgers and hot dogs. We have all kinds of stuff. We even have a dessert restaurant available in our buffet, or rather our dining commons. But let's say, for example, you get tired of the food, right? Maybe you just want to make your own food, or maybe you just, want to make a home cooked meal. That's 100% okay. That's why we have the community kitchens, right? They're equipped with microwaves, stoves, sinks, all of that stuff. We have central heat and air in every single floor. So that does mean that every single room has a thermostat, right? So you can control the temperature as needed, make it colder or hotter, depending on your preferences. Okay, so if you are interested in applying for housing as a first-time freshman, the first step would be to submit your ECD, or rather enrollment confirmation deposit. That is a $100 deposit, which is mandatory for all students looking to commit to Cal State LA. And it's important to note that it is due by May 15th. Okay, so if you are interested in attending Cal State LA, submit that $100 deposit by May 15th. All right, and the housing application opens up, I know it says late February right there, but actually opens up around March time. Okay, so it's been open for about a month. So if you are interested, go ahead and submit that $40 deposit for the housing application so we can reserve your room and essentially reserve your spot. Okay, so if you are interested in dorming, just go ahead and scan that QR code on the bottom right-hand corner, or just look up that URL at the bottom section right here. This is one of my favorite slides to talk about in the What's Next presentation. And the reason why is because I typically get the same reaction from every single student once I tell them the cost of tuition, right? So here at Cal State LA for both the fall and the spring semester, or rather a full year here at Cal State LA, it'll cost you $6,814. Okay, so we are a very affordable university. So as you know, UCs cost anywhere upwards of about $12,000, or $12,000 to $14,000. Privates are anywhere upwards of $40,000 a year. Okay, so we are a premier destination for a high quality education at a very affordable cost. Okay, so not only are we very affordable, right? So we cost less than $7,000 a year, but on top of that, we do love to financially support our students. Okay, 81% of our students do receive financial aid, which is a huge number, right? So that means 81% of the students you're going to see on campus receive some form of financial aid. So whether it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it may be, 81% of our students get something, which is absolutely amazing. It's also worth noting that 60% of our students get a full ride to Cal State LA, or rather graduate debt-free. Okay, that means 60% of our students, more than half, never have to pay anything out of pocket because we love to financially support our students. So going a little bit deeper into financial aid packages and stuff like that, the average yearly financial aid package that we offer to a student on average is about $15,000 a year. Okay, so again, that's a contingent entirely on FAFSA, right? The financial aid application. So it depends on, of course, your family income, how many people live in your household, and et cetera, et cetera. But on average, we give students about $15,000 a year. So let's go ahead and do the math on that, right? Just real quick. So $15,000 minus, and let's go ahead and round up the tuition to $7,000. $15,000 minus $7,000 is $8,000, guys. Okay, so going back to our dorming facilities, right? Not only can you, of course, get your full tuition paid for, considering the average financial aid package, but you can also afford a triple dorm here at Cal State LA, right? Which I mentioned again is $8,000. So that's you and two other people living in one room. So you can pay your tuition, live on campus, and get that full college experience here at Cal State LA, considering that financial aid package. Okay, so that's really awesome, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about. But let's say, for example, you don't qualify for financial aid, or maybe you do, right? It's important to note that we have 400 scholarship opportunities available to our students. Okay, it's also important to note that these are exclusively available to Cal State LA students. So it's not like people from Florida or New York are applying for these scholarships. These are specifically available to committed Cal State LA students. Okay, so if you haven't submitted your ECD or if you're not coming here, you cannot apply. I also like to talk about these scholarships because it takes less than 30 minutes to apply to all 400. Okay, so it's not like you have to write an essay for one or volunteer for another. No, nothing like that, okay? You can apply to all 400 in less than 30 minutes, and you don't have to write any essays or anything of the sort. Okay, so that's really cool, and I do love to talk about that. So if you can create like a social media account, I promise you guys can create this scholarship account. Really basic information is required: first name, last name, email, et cetera, right? So if you can create a social media, right? If you can create a little Instagram account, I promise you can create a scholarship account. So going back to financial aid real quick, it's important to note that the FAFSA application isn't necessarily due May 2nd, but that's the priority deadline. Okay, so if you are looking to get guaranteed money, or rather guaranteed access to money, you will have to submit it by May 2nd. Okay, so that is for any Cal Grant or Pell Grants. Um, if you qualify, right? So if you do qualify, you will get that guaranteed money. However, um, it is contingent upon how you fill out that application. Okay, so definitely plan to submit it by May 2nd. That is coming up quite quickly. Looks like it's about a week and 2 days. Okay, guys, so definitely make sure to submit that by May 2nd. Now go ahead and leave the screen up just because the QR code on the bottom left-hand corner does take you directly to our financial aid website, which is very easy to access, very easy to read, but it also gives you the contact information to our financial aid office. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to them. They'll be more than happy to help. So this is a step-by-step process for any students who have already been offered admission to Cal State LA. So again, the first step is to submit your ECD, or rather your $100 enrollment confirmation deposit, by May 15th. Okay. It's important to note that this has actually been extended as a courtesy to you because of kind of the situation happening with financial aid right now. There's some delays that are causing some headaches, right? So because of that, we want you to make an informed decision on what college you want to attend. Hence, we extended it by 2 weeks for you. Okay, so your financial aid package this year, if you haven't already received it, is going to arrive a little bit later than than it has historically arrived. Okay, so again, we want you to make an informed decision, which is why we extended it to May 15th. It's also important to note that this is a $100 enrollment confirmation deposit, right? Emphasis on deposit. It's not like a fee that goes to the university, anything like that. It's a deposit. So let's go back to the screen right here. Again, our cost of tuition every single year is $6,814. Once you submit the deposit, your tuition for the first year goes down to $6,714, okay? So it's a direct down payment on your tuition. It is not a fee. Okay, so once you pay that ECD, you will be invited to Golden Eagle orientation, which is mandatory for all students, okay? Golden Eagle orientation is a really fun day where you can, of course, start interacting with students within your college, right? So if you're a business student, you're going to be going to the business orientation. Or if you're a nursing student, you're going to go to the nursing orientation, right? Which is really cool because you got to start meeting like-minded individuals within your college. And these individuals are likely the same individuals you're going to be seeing in your classrooms, right? Maybe not your first year, but maybe your second year, right? So say hello to people, start making those friends. and introduce yourself, right? Orientation invitations will begin to go out at the end of this month, if not in a couple weeks. So definitely just go ahead and check your email for any more detailed information regarding orientation, okay? As those will arrive shortly. My general rule of thumb is to sign up for the first possible orientation date, okay? Because you will be offered about 7 or 8 different dates and times where you can attend. So it's important to sign up for the first possible date because orientation is a day where you're going to sign up for your classes. Okay, you're going to meet with your academic advisors that day and sign up for your classes. So if you want the best possible schedule for you, right? You want to have the best class availability, you're going to want to attend the first possible orientation date so you can have that first priority access, okay? So please monitor your Cal State LA email as those orientation invitations will go directly to your Cal State LA email. One thing I forgot to mention is that as soon as you submit your ECD, all of the communication from Cal State LA will go to your Cal State LA email, okay? It's not going to go to your personal email anymore. As soon as you submit your ECD, we're going to communicate exclusively with you through your Cal State LA email. All right, the third step, and this is very, very important, guys, because this is a common issue that arises every single year. We need you to submit your final transcripts, your final and official transcripts, which has your grades posted through spring 2024 by July 15th. All right, so it's important to note that a lot of counselors submit these electronically for you as a student, but go ahead and check in with your counselor, see if they're going to submit them for you or if they're going to submit them at all. So just go ahead and make sure with that and confirm with them that they'll submit them by July 14th. Again, a lot of the times counselors submit them electronic for you, but it's important to double check. So some criteria. We need, again, all grades posted through spring 2024. And of course, we need your graduation date posted. So for example, we needed to say Jacob Quintana graduated on June 10th, 2024. Okay, we need it explicitly to say that. Lastly, we want to go ahead and talk about test scores. Okay, so if you did take any AP test scores, we need you to contact College Board and have them send over your official test scores to Cal State LA. Okay, because your transcript or your official transcript will not have your AP test score. It'll only have your final grade for the AP class, which is not the same as an AP test score, okay? So contact College Board, have them send it over to Cal State LA's admissions office. The same exact thing would apply for any students involved in any dual enrollment or any concurrent enrollment classes. So what that means is you're taking a community college course at your high school. Okay, so it's a little bit different from an AP course. You're essentially taking, again, a community college course at your high school. So what that means is that the community college backs that course. So what you need to do is contact that community college, let's say, for example, East Los Angeles College or Pasadena City College, and have them send over an official community college transcript to Cal State LA so we can give you that college credit, okay? Because you worked so hard to pass the class, now it's important to get the credit for that class, okay? So save you time in college. So contact College Board and contact your community colleges to have them send over any information to Cal State LA. So I talked to you guys a little bit about the $100 enrollment confirmation deposit, which is due May 15th. We went ahead and added this slide to this presentation just to make it easier for you to submit that ECD. This lovely QR code right in the middle of the screen takes you directly to that ECD website where you can go ahead and submit that payment, okay? Again, this is due by May 15th. So if you are interested in attending Cal State LA, you will have to go ahead and pay the ECD. So I'll go ahead and leave that up for a few minutes. So this is just a little bit more information on orientation. Again, we call it Golden Eagle orientation. I do want to reiterate that this is mandatory for all incoming undergraduate students. So whether you're a first-time freshman or transfer student, every single individual that wants to graduate with a bachelor's degree from Cal State LA will need to attend orientation. And the reason behind that is because orientation's a date where not only where you sign up for classes, but that's where we give you like a tour of the campus. We give you the Wi-Fi passwords. We talk to you about, the student services offered here at Cal State LA. Orientation is intended and especially geared towards kind of like, welcoming you to Cal State LA and letting you know what we're all about as a university, right? So just to give you an example, not a lot of students know that we have doctors and dentists and therapists available on campus 100% for free. You can get a checkup done by a doctor here, get a typical dental checkup here as well, or get a free therapeutic session from a licensed psychologist or therapist 100% for free. As part of your tuition. Okay, and those are the little things here that you learn here. You also learn about our tutoring services, right? The hours of our bookstore, our library hours, and so much more. On top of that too, but orientation is the day where you meet with your academic counselor and talk about your academic plan. but it's also the time where you go ahead and sign up for classes, okay? So that's also why it's so super important. So if you have any conflicts with orientation, let's say, for example, you can't make the orientation date, it's important to reach out to the orientation department. Their email is located on the far right-hand side of this slide, and their phone number is available there as well, okay? So feel free to reach out to them. They are very accommodating. It's also worth noting that orientation is in person, okay? There are, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you do get one virtual session offered to you, but I would say 95% of those orientations are in person, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and talk about My Cal State LA. My Cal State LA is a student portal that we have here for all of our students or even any prospective students, but I'll go ahead and get into that in a second. So if you're interested in activating your My Cal State LA or even just interested in coming to Cal State LA, you will have to submit or rather create your account, okay? To access this, you can just use that URL at the top section of this slide, or just look up on Google My Cal State LA, the way it's spelled at the top of the screen, activation, okay? So use this URL on top, or just look up My Cal State LA activation, okay? It'll take you to the exact same website, which we went ahead and added a screenshot for you right here at the bottom. All right, so the most important part is the button on the left, which says activate account. Once you go ahead and click on this section right here, it'll take you directly to your activation portal. And this is exactly what it looks like right here. Your CIN is needed, your last name is needed, and of course, your PIN. Okay, so 3 things are needed. Your CIN, which is your campus identification number, your last name, and your PIN. Okay, so it's important to note that we need all of those. So in the first slide, we need your CIN, which is a 9-digit number, which should have been emailed to you already. And if you're having trouble finding it, any official communication from Cal State LA will have your CIN at the bottom of the screen. I'm sorry, at the bottom of the email below the signature. And of course, we all know your last name. We all know our last name, so just go ahead and type that in there, hit submit. Once you hit submit, you're gonna get taken to the second step, which is validate and accept. That's when you're gonna go ahead and type your PIN in, okay? You should have received your PIN 2 business days after submitting your application to Cal State LA. So you're gonna wanna look back in your email as far as November, December time to find that PIN, okay? Third step will be to create a password, which is pretty straightforward, just because all of you know how to create a password. Once you do that, you pretty much get full access to the Mag Cal State LA. And this is a little snippet of what it looks like right here. We try to make it easy for our students to access. It's really a one-stop shop for you to, kind of just, get it really is just like a one-stop shop where you can access everything. So of course you can access free tutoring services. You can access Canvas, which is your student portal that you're going to be using here at Cal State LA. Some of you are accustomed to using Schoology or Naviance as like your student portal. Here at Cal State LA, we use Canvas. And some of you actually may be familiar with Canvas as well, as some of those high schools use Canvas. But we also have your student email easily accessible here. We have Navigate LA, which is basically your appointment scheduling friend, right? This is where you get to schedule any appointments with your advisors or anyone else within the university. This is where you get to purchase your parking and so much more. But the one we want to focus on right now is your Get Student Center, okay? Which is short for Golden Eagle Territory. Again, it's highlighted in red. GET stands for Golden Eagle Territory. And this is exactly what it looks like right here. So on the bottom left-hand corner, you're gonna see that this is where you access your financial aid, right? It's circled in red. This is really important because if you haven't already created your My Cal State LA, you're gonna wanna do so just to see if your financial aid package has arrived, okay? And how else will you know that you wanna come to Cal State LA without knowing your financial aid package, right? So definitely wanna go ahead and create your account, access your financial aid to see if, to see if you will be accepting it. On the bottom, on the top right-hand side, you're gonna see Communication Center. It's important to note that this is a duplicate copy of any email that we sent you. So we're going to send you an email, but that email will also be sent to this communication center. So it's kind of like a duplicate copy. So we make it really easy for you to, access any communication coming from us. Right below the communication center is the holds section. Okay. So typically speaking, it's not good if you have something in the hold section. Okay. So for example, if you fail to pay your tuition, it'll show up as a hold, and you will not be able to register for classes. Or for example, if you fail to attend orientation, it'll show up as a hold on your account, okay? So that typically is pretty serious. So if that's the case, you're gonna wanna go ahead and click on the hold section, click on the specific hold, and it'll take you directly to the contact information for the department that's actually holding up your account. Okay, so whether it's the admissions office who's holding it up, financial aid, or even EOP or whatever it may be, you're going to want to go ahead and contact them just to resolve the issue, okay? Right below the holds, you're going to see the to-do list, which is how we directly communicate with you if we're missing anything. Okay, so for example, if we're missing any transcripts or any AP test scores or any community college transcripts for any dual enrollment students, or for example, any residency forms, anything of the sort that you need to do, it'll go ahead and show up there. Okay, and again, it'll get you connected to the specific department that's holding up your account. You just have to go ahead and click on it. Okay, so make sure your holds in your to-do list is completely empty, as it is super important. So if it says no holds or no to-do list, that is a good sign, okay? All right, so just some general tips for success for any students. Typically speaking, the three most important departments that you're going to want to be communicating with, and just to make sure that nothing is being held up or nothing is missing, are the financial aid department, the admissions department, and the orientation department, okay? And potentially the EOP department if you got admitted. Okay, so financial aid, admissions, orientation department, and the EOP department, okay? Make sure you're constantly communicating with these departments, make sure you don't have anything missing, and of course, just make sure you submit any required documentation, okay? Super, super important. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you're gonna see some of the campus resources we have available to you as a student. Okay, so of course, we do have academic advising, which is something I went over as well. You definitely want to meet with your advisor at least once a semester, okay? On top of that too, we do have basic needs support as well. So for any students who have any food insecurities, we do have a food pantry on our campus, which is available for you to access. You do get a free box of food if you do qualify, okay? And this is fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, pastas, etc. I went over this a little bit, but this is our counseling and psychological services, or our CAPS program, okay? This is a really important program because it does allow you to go ahead and meet with a licensed counselor or psychologist for a free 30-minute session, okay? And you can talk about anything you want, right? So whether it's your transition from high school to college, maybe you're having some trouble adjusting, or maybe you have some problems at home, anything you want, right? Maybe you're having some relationship troubles, right? That's where you can go ahead and meet with meet with a professional for 30 minutes. A few below that, we have the Glazier Family Dreamers Resource Center, which is particularly geared towards assisting any undocumented students or any dreamers. This is an awesome department just because I do work with them closely. They have a ton of services available for students. So whether it's scholarships for any undocumented students, or for example, any free lawyers to help you fight for your immigration status. But on top of that too, they give you access to mentorship opportunities who can connect you to like-minded individuals and so on and so forth. EOP program is an equally important program here at the university. This program is intended for any underprivileged students, right, or any underprivileged communities, really. This program allows students to go ahead and get access to priority registration for classes, meaning you get to have access to signing up for classes a couple weeks before anyone else, which is super important because it gives you that extra help, right, that little edge to help you succeed in college. But again, we offer scholarship opportunities through EOP as well as mentorship opportunities. We do have the Office of Students with Disabilities, or commonly known as OSD. This accommodates to any students with any physical or learning disabilities. We can give you access to elevators, note takers who can take notes for you in class, right? Or for example, any students with any IEPs or any individual educational plans, just go ahead and submit those to the Office of Students with Disabilities, and they'll communicate directly with your professors to help accommodate you. We also have the Technology Support Program, which is really cool because in high school, it's almost impossible to get through or successfully graduate without a computer, right? So here in college, that situation is even further exacerbated because, you're going to need to access your Canvas, your student portal, access your student email, and so on and so forth, much more. So again, we understand that it's almost impossible to get through college without a computer. So if you can't afford one, all you have to do is talk to our Office of Dean of Students, and we can supply you with a free laptop, a free iPad, a free Apple Pencil, and of course, a Wi-Fi box, okay? So again, a free laptop, a free iPad, a free Apple Pencil, and a free Wi-Fi box, so you can use all of that stuff. It's important to note that this is on a loaner basis, meaning you get it as long as you're a student at Cal State LA, but as soon as you graduate, you do have to return it. However, if you do want to purchase it, you can definitely purchase it at a very heavily discounted rate. Okay. So yeah, that's our technology support program. We also have the Veterans Resource Center for any students who are vets or for any students who may have parents who are veterans. We do accept the GI Bill here, and we may be able to relieve some of your tuition. Okay. So definitely look into that if that is the case. All right, if you take a look at the screen, you're gonna go ahead and see the contact information for Cal State LA's Office of Admissions. So that is our direct phone line, and that is our email right below that. So if you do have any questions or any particular concerns, give us a call. We typically do prefer phone calls as opposed to emails, just because we can actually actively look into your application and see what's going on, right? It's a much faster turnaround time as opposed to an email. So yeah, we do encourage, again, phone calls. Okay. And if you go ahead and scan the QR code on the bottom right-hand side, you're going to go ahead and get direct access to our admissions website, which can give you a step-by-step process as far as any admissions criteria before coming here in the fall. So that does conclude the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and leave this contact screen up just for a few seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and open the Q&A chat just to see if there are any questions so we can go ahead and get those answered. What is the admissions office's number? That's one of the questions here. It's on the screen right now. It's 323-343-3901. How do you sign up for the tech loan? That's a really great question. All you have to do is look up online, Cal State LA, Office of the Dean of Students, and it'll go ahead and link you to the technology loan. Okay. So go ahead and look into that. Ooh, this is a really good question. If I have an IEP accommodation, would it be the same accommodation once I start school at Cal State LA? So yes and no, right? There's certain differences from high school to college, but we can definitely accommodate whatever it may be, right? So for example, if you need extra time to take a test, we can offer you that here at Cal State LA. We have what's referred to as the Alternative Testing Center. Or for example, if you have trouble writing notes in class, we can give you access to a note taker. So it might not be identical to your high school plan. However, we can definitely accommodate or at least try to match it as close as we can. Okay, so if you have an IEP, definitely send it in to the Office of Students with Disabilities as soon as you can, just so that we can have it on file and communicate with your professors with the given accommodations. Okay. Will I be able to do work study as a freshman? Also, is there a work study priority by grade? So we do have the option to do work study. That's particularly offered through financial aid. So some of your financial aid package may be, work study. You definitely want to go ahead and take that up with the financial aid department just to make sure that it is going to cover your cost of tuition, and so on and so forth. Another question here, in order to access those 400 scholarships, any suggestions? Yeah, all you'd want to do is look up Cal State LA scholarships, CSULA scholarships on Google. It'll take you directly to our scholarship page. It's typically the first or second page. Again, all you have to do is create an account. You can apply to all 400. It really only takes like 30 minutes. I highly suggest this for all students. Again, these scholarships are exclusively available to Cal State LA students, so you have a much higher chance of qualifying for a scholarship. We have a question here about orientation. Will the email be sent to freshman students on when orientation is? Yes, so emails will begin going out in about a couple weeks. So please go ahead and take a look at your Cal State LA email, okay? So specifically your Cal State LA email, not your personal email, your Cal State LA email. Again, it'll give you about 8 different orientation dates to choose from. So please go ahead and make sure that you're taking a look at your Cal State LA email and sign up for the first possible date, because again, you get the most availability for classes, okay? Because that's the day you're gonna sign up and register for your classes. Another good question here. Could I have a different location for testing if I have an IEP? Yes. Yeah, we have what's referred to as the Alternative Testing Center, where we can proctor an exam to you verbally as opposed to you reading the exam, right? We can give you extra time on the test, or we can give you the exam on a virtual basis, right? Or for example, through a computer. But the best department to contact in regards to this would be the Office of Students with Disabilities, so you can get the full information and the full accommodation list. Good question here. How do we add a minor? That's a good question. That's something you're going to want to go ahead and, don't worry about it too much right now. But as soon as you go to orientation or anytime after that, you get to meet with your advisor, and your advisor is going to be able to inform you about the different minors that are available to you. Okay. So don't worry about it too much right now, because there's no ability for you to like essentially add a minor at this point in time. Again, you're going to have to meet with your advisor to do that. Once you go to orientation, you get unlimited access to your advisor, and you can, proactively schedule an appointment with them. Another good question, is there a possibility of doing a double major? Yes, 100%, absolutely. You are, again, just gonna have to meet with your advisor to potentially discuss the option of doing a double major, okay? And again, you get access to your advisor on an unlimited basis after orientation. You cannot meet with your advisor before that. Really great question here, Fatima. Thank you for asking this. Do we receive the orientation email after we pay the ECD? And the answer is yes. You will not be invited to orientation unless you submit the ECD, okay? So please, please, please plan on submitting the ECD by May 15th so that we can start inviting you out to orientation, okay? Another good question here, is there a fee for orientation? The answer is yes. So historically, the orientation fee has been, if I'm not mistaken, $75. So you will have to pay for orientation. Yes. Good question here. How do you know when your ECD has been accepted? Well, you do get a confirmation email. It typically takes about a business day or sometimes 2 business days to arrive. But there's no accepting or denying your ECD. Rather, it's really just like a confirmation that we have received it, and so on. Because if you were offered admission, that means we already admitted you to the university, right? So it's all about just letting us know if you're actually going to be coming so that we can invite you to orientation and essentially just open up all the portals for you. Will the $75 payment for orientation go to our tuition? Unfortunately not. Okay, so the payment is a separate payment that is a fee for orientation. It will not go towards your tuition. Okay, the only one that goes towards your tuition would be the ECD, or the enrollment confirmation deposit. Oh, good question. How much is the Cal State LA ID? That's a really good question. They're actually only $5. Okay, so very affordable, very easy to access. You get access to this during orientation or anytime after that. You can either, submit a photo online, or you can just go ahead and take it inside. It's called the Cal State LA One Card, and we do have a specific department dedicated to this. It's located on the 4th floor, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 4th floor of the Student Services building. How can I create or see my Cal State LA email? Natalie, that's a good question. You're gonna have to create your My Cal State LA, which is something I went over earlier in the presentation. This would be right here. So once you create your My Cal State LA, you're gonna get access to your student portal, right? Where you can access your Canvas, your student email, and most importantly, your Get account. By when do we need to pay the $75 fee for orientation? You don't have to worry about that too much now because you haven't even been invited to orientation, right? So you definitely still have some time. Just make sure you monitor your email to sign up for orientation and then worry about paying the $75. Good question. On average, how many classes does a freshman take? It really depends, right? If you're a part-time student, that would be anywhere between 1 or 2 classes. Otherwise, if you're a full-time student, you're going to be taking 3, 4, or 5 classes, okay? But I would say freshmen take anywhere between, 3 to 5 classes if, that's full time. But it is important to meet with your advisor to kind of help you develop that academic plan, okay? Okay, so it looks like someone's having trouble accessing their My Cal State LA portal. It says you said that it wouldn't let you. That's okay. Just go ahead and scan this QR code. It'll take you directly to our ITS help desk. I recommend giving them a phone call. They can help you figure out the problem. The ITS help desk is open 24/7, okay? Do we take IB exam scores for college credit? Yes, we do, okay? So definitely just go ahead and make sure you submit any test scores to Cal State LA. Another good question, how long does it take to finish a pre-major? That'll typically take 2 years, right? So typically when you complete your GEs, you'll be admitted into your actual major. But don't be too worried about the pre-major indication. So for example, if you're like an engineering student, you're going to be categorized under pre-engineering, which basically just means you have to knock out your GEs first and then get actually admitted to the actual program. But as long as you're on track, you're getting good grades, you have nothing to worry about. How can I get access to the recording of this presentation? Unfortunately, we're not releasing any recordings. Yes, but if you do have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to our admissions office. I'll leave the phone number up on the screen. Okay, guys, we're coming to an end. We have about 4 minutes left. Get any questions in right now so we can make sure your questions are answered. Good question. Do we start choosing classes at orientation? Yes, that's when you actually register and choose the classes you want to take for your first semester as a Cal State LA student. And that's also where you meet with your advisor. When is orientation? Good question. Orientation dates haven't been released yet. So just please monitor your Cal State LA email as those orientation invitations will begin going out in about a couple weeks. Okay, so please make sure to monitor your Cal State LA email and choose the first possible orientation date that works for you. What do we need to do if we want to change our major? All you want to do, yeah. So my colleague will go ahead and type in an email for you where you can just email them and let us know what major you got admitted to and what major you would like to get admitted to. The only major that we can't actually admit you to is nursing. Okay, so if you're interested in nursing, unfortunately, we will not be able to accommodate that. However, we can typically accommodate any other request, okay, based on space availability. So just send an email to that email, checkapp@calstatela.edu, and you're good to go. All right, everyone. Looks like we are coming to an end. But I appreciate everyone's questions. They were some really great questions here. So we hope it was informative. I do want to give a huge shout out to my colleagues, Monica, Maribel, and Nadia for the assistance. Again, this isn't the end, right? So you are going to get plenty of time to ask any questions. Please just go ahead and call our phone line to, get your questions answered. Again, we can open up your application, talk about anything that may be, holding up your app or holding up your admission. So give us a call, guys. We're actually really friendly. Otherwise, we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for attending, and we hope to see you here in the fall. Thank you, everyone.